Good evening and welcome to the 18th and final round of our USAC 1978 Championship, coming to you tonight from the Silverstone Gp Circuit. And my sincere apologies if you find my voice a little bit unbearable tonight. I am working with a cold and a sore throat, so we'll do our best to get through it. My hopes is to be joined by at least one member of our broadcast team, most likely Jason White, if he is feeling up for it. Otherwise, I noticed Alberto Ibañez is on the server too, so if Jason can't, I will be joined by Alberto, as I now heard the sweet sounds of Alberto Ibañez joining us. Good evening, Alberto.
Good evening. How are you doing?
Running a bit of a cold and a sore throat, but otherwise I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Looking forward already, well, to this race, obviously, but also to ESO's next season, which is a very exciting one. It's going to open immediately after this race.
It's certainly going to be a very interesting season indeed, with F1 58. I think it's DRM 1979?
DRM 78.
78. And I seem to remember we also have the Kart 87 season coming up, along with, of course, many interesting Lukas Vidra Trophy Championships, which was rounded up last week when Anders Nilsson got a clean sweep of wins in the Touring Car Trophy World Touring Car Cup at Le Castellet and won the trophy by the merest of margins. I believe it was 1 or 2 points. But now back to what we have right here. As we mentioned, we have the Silverstone GP Circuit, or Silverstone Circuit as it was known back in the day. It's a 4.716 kilometer long circuit, which equals to roughly 3.932 miles. So our drivers will be doing 52 laps, which will equal roughly 152.5 miles. They will be scoring under the 150 mile points scheme.
Yeah, this is one of the beautiful versions of the old Silverstone. As you can see in the track layout, it was still the very quick one, with only the small chicane that they had already added before the start-finish line, but otherwise it kept the purity of being a high-speed track. I mean, in Brands Hatch, these cars were somehow like, well, very much enclosed in an environment that was really too tight for them. But here we should be seeing what they are worth with, because the V8s and the powerful up to 900 Cosworths, they are going to really rip the asphalt here in these long straights.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting, especially to see how they tackle some of the probably more difficult sections, such as Shuttle Curve, the left-hander going on to the back straight, and also the left-hander at Abbey Curve, which is the left-hander before we reach that curved braking zone into the final chicane, which I'm sure, even though they can stretch their legs, will also pose some difficulty for our drivers tonight. And in terms of the points, the 150 point... why do I have that selected? Oops. Let me just quickly re-edit that, because that's not supposed to say 120 miles.
That's the one for the previous race, Brands Hatch. That's how it was.
That's the one.
Now,
so they will be scoring under the 150 mile point scheme, where the leader will take 300 points, and then it drops to 240, 210, 180, 150, 120, 90, and then it drops by 15 points from the 90.7th will score down to 15 for the 12th placed finisher, And then 13th to 16th will score 8 points, 17th to 20th 6, 21st to 24th 5, and 25th to 28th 3. And I think that's the furthest we will see tonight that anyone could possibly finish. And in terms of the overall championship, top 5, David Yates is our crowned champion, as he was for the last event as well. Adam Hackman still holds on to second place in the championship, just under 300 points ahead of Brian Yannick, so Hackman ideally needs to finish here tonight to have a decent chance at securing second in the championship, because Brian could very well win here tonight with that AMC-powered Eagle. He lines up third in the championship on 3,676 points. So Serge Lapinski is a little bit over 300 points back, so the best he can hope for is fourth in the championship. And Jason White still retaining fifth in the championship on 2,776 points. I think, if I'm not misremembering, he is mainly challenged by Bruno Chacon for that fifth place in the championship.
And as you can see, even if there is already a champion crowned, as you say, David Jakes, who is safe with that, but 2, 3rd, and 4th, they could be playing musical chairs today. Well, actually not 4th in the case of Slapinski, because even with the 300 points, he could not be able to catch up with Brian Yannick. But Adam Hackman and Brian Yannick, they're actually both on the fence of being, of about swapping places.
Very much so, and it'll be very interesting to follow both of them in tonight's event. As if we now join the track, we can see Brian Yannick talking about the man himself going through Cops turn 1. And let's see if we can find anyone soon to start a lap. I believe Adam Hackman is on his way. So let's actually jump on board with him and take a lap on board. As here we can see the curved braking zone, very similar to the chicane at Thruxton that they still use today. Out of the final turn at Woodcote chicane and down the front straight heading towards Cops Corner, named such because of a small wood that was adjacent to the track when the track was first built. A very, very tight right-hander it is back in the day. Now up to Maggots, which is a local moor near the track. This left-hander, very tricky as we can see there, getting very loose. Into Beckett's, named such after the chapel of Thomas Becket. That was very close to the track. And now on to Shuttle Curve, also named after the same man and place. Really getting loose there as he puts the power down onto the hanger straight. 2 hangers was adjacent to the track previously. Now into Stove Corner, which was named after a school, which is just on the other side of those grandstands. Now down another long straight into Club Corner, named such after the RAC Club, the Gentleman Racing's club in Great Britain. And we're really bogging down there. Onto another straight and then into Abbey Curve, named such after the Luffield Abbey. Luffield, another corner name we saw later. Now for the Farm Straight and back again to the Woodcote chicane.
As you can see, the difficulty here is powering out of the corners because there is surplus of power, evidently, in these cars. And what's going on here is that you really need to keep your foot down on the throttle, because if you lift, you obviously lose momentum, because these are very, very, very fast corners. So you cannot afford to lose speed in this situation. But at the same time, if you are too happy with the throttle, then even at those speeds, the car can bring the tail out, and that's exactly what they are doing. So it's a balancing act, absolutely.
It certainly is, and we are also joined by Jason White for this event. Good evening, Jason.
Good evening, gentlemen.
How are you doing this? I hazard to say fine evening, but evening, at least.
Yeah, I'm doing okay. This should be an interesting contest between USAC cars on a track they're very unfamiliar with. You've probably already covered a lot of the ins and outs of this circuit, and the fact that we have, as Alberto just said, too much power for at the wrong times.
Too much power, which is probably exactly what you never would expect from a real racing driver. Eh? That's at least what Mark Donoghue used to say.
Well,
That
let's put it
you
this
only
way.
have too much power or enough power when you are able to go wheel spinning from the exit of the corner to the entry of the next one.
Yeah.
Well, I notice in the meantime, fastest on the server at the moment in this warm-up session is Gabriel Sturr, jumping into the number 22 after some time away and straight up there with a very competitive lap time. And I'm just trying to look through the list if we have any other drivers that are making their first entry into this particular series. Looks like we're not at the moment, but
No, Gabriel would be it.
yeah, Gabriel Sturr, fastest on the server at the moment, as I mentioned, 1.7 seconds faster than anyone else. So either he's been running with a bit less fuel in the car for that lap, or he very much has that leader card races entry very well sewn up for this race.
I would say it's probably the latter. It really is. It really is a case of driving technique around here. If the technique is not proper, then you're not going to be quick. It's really that simple. I tested both 4 and 8-cylinder cars, and really, unless you get out of the corners the way you're supposed to and get the power down the way you should, it really makes no difference. Whether you're 8 or 4 cylinders.
Well, that's interesting to hear. So definitely a driver's track, this one, then.
In this case, yes.
I also notice, at least on the both when we were riding on board with Hackman and now that we're looking at Sturr, we have the anti-cuts, which I think is concrete anti-cuts. Do you happen to know whether they are fully collidable or if there is a little bit of open ability? Ooh, someone has a big off in the background.
Are you talking about the ones that are on like the corners of Cops and Stowe and Club and stuff like that? Yes, those are fully collidable.
Oh dear.
Oh yes.
Well,
Oh dear, indeed.
Well, that's another thing to keep in mind. Then don't be too liberal with the line you're taking.
Yeah, that's for sure. So 40 seconds to go. I mean, really, it's anybody's race if you ask me. I don't think I really make much of a prediction as to who's going to win.
Well, I reckon, to be fair, Ruben Fernandez is one I will be keeping my eye on. He had a fantastic event at Le Castellet last week, and if he keeps that kind of form up, he'll definitely be in there for a shot at a win here.
Yeah, possibly.
And I believe he has possibly one of the more suitable cars, at least chassis-wise, for this particular event too. If I'm not mistaken, that's one of the Lightnings. Number 43.
Well, the handicap here for Gabriel Sturr
43
is the reliability of the Offenhauser engine. So we will see. I mean, one of the most reliable here is going to be the proprietary V8 Voigt that Cesare Slapinski has on his own car. But we will see. I mean, over-revving the car here is obviously much easier than on an oval, even if the temperatures are easier to keep in check because you're letting off the throttle more time. But reliability could very well be playing a key. And remember the case, for example, of Thiago Canola just crossing the line and blowing the engine. I mean, coasting, actually.
Yeah, that's one of those where you go, "Whew, I survived," but by the merest of margins. So,
all right, here comes the race session. It's going to be interesting to see what happens at the end of the first lap with Woodcote, because I guarantee you there could be some action there.
Certainly a possibility. Well, I'd say the whole first lap could be filled with things to happen. But as you say, Cops is usually the place to see things happen. I think the one time that would have been in the 70s too, I think, or very early 80s, when a driver went off in the final Woodcote chicane, stalled it, and ended up right on a racing line, and there were like a 7 or 8 car pile-up there during an F1 race in, I think it was the late 70s. Though I could obviously be wrong. But anyway, Gabriel Sturr took pole position, just like he was fastest in the warm-up session. Second on the grid will be David Yates for Pat Patrick Racing. Juha Boos has been given a chance in the top-tier Penske for this race, lines up third, thanking Mr. Penske for the added support. Serge Lapinski lines up fourth for Gilmore Racing, with Brian Yannick fifth for Warner Hodgson Racing. Ruben Fernandez lines up sixth for Sherman Armstrong. Seventh for David Sabre in the McLaren. Eighth for Ray Riddall in the Shuttle Racing Lola. August Watering lines up ninth for Dayton Walter Racing in the McLaren. Dave Miller lines up 10th, his first race of the year in this series. He's been out with his good gal Angel May driving the car for most of the season, but he wanted to go to celebrate Christmas, I reckon. Lines up 10th. Jakob Fredriksson 11th for Pat Patrick Racing, with Adam Hackman all the way down in 12th for the qualifying. That'll be a tall order to get back up there. Jules Bouchard 13th for Lindsay Hopkins race team, with Keo Michiels 14th for Leader Card Racers. Michael Drexler lines up 15th for Russ Polak Racing, with Bruno Chacon 16th for Gilmore Racing. Simon Watman 17th for Grand King Agashanian, and getting a bit closer in warm-up with Jan Kowalski driving the Machinist Union car. Luciano Rocha lines up 19th for All-American Racers, and final car on the grid is the second of the semi-works McLarens of Jerry O'Connell. Francisco Amaral pedaling that car tonight. And more or less perfect timing as we're heading to Woodcote. Through the chicane, and then it'll be a very tricky start for a few drivers, I'm fairly sure. As the green flag is out and the race is underway.
Everybody trying very carefully to thread their way
Oh
through.
no!
Oh shoot! We've already got trouble.
Oh, Shlapinski without a rear wing.
Yeah, Shlapinski is without a rear wing, and I am afraid we have another
like
issue as well.
That looks like a restart incoming.
Oh yeah, I guess we are having a restart because everything suddenly froze.
Well, that's unfortunate. We were getting all ready for the start, and as we said, the chicane could cause some tricky starts, and it looks like that has been the case.
Yeah, I think Gabriel overtook the safety car when it was going into the pits.
Aha!
All right, so let's give this another shot.
User left your channel.
As I believe that is a lead by Alberto to double check what is exactly going on here. As I noticed, the event admin is down in the same chat room, so presumably that's the case. Oh, we've lost one driver too in all of this. We're now 19 on the server. Someone in the top 10 at least, or top 11. We were 20, we're now 19, so... Oh well, the race is underway, so... Well, underway. The warm-up session is... Warm-up lap is back underway. You now get to see the whole field streaking past now that we know what the grid more or less looks like. And it's a beautiful grid at that. Once again, the cars put together is, both from a driving standpoint and a look standpoint, top notch.
Okay, here we go again.
Hopefully,
Okay.
Now not to overtake the safety car.
Okay, I'm
hopefully
gonna
everyone will survive this.
keep
I
it.
think this looks much better.
Okay, I'm keeping a close eye on Woodcote here to make sure everyone gets through okay, because you have to get through there. Yeah, everybody's through Woodcote cleanly.
Nicely done. Let's see, we have Stur still in the lead. Jake second, Boss third. Slapinski sneaks up to fourth, I think, ahead of third, ahead of no, that was fourth, ahead of Ruben Fernandez, who dropped back. Oh, inside of Jakes, that looked very close indeed.
Well,
Owen-
look at the
Owen
tire
Stur
smoke
has
being
locked
laid
up.
up by
Stur's locked up.
Stur's run off the track.
Well, I noticed in the warm-up session before the race, he was locking up there. Looked like he locked up one time too many this time. So that
My
means now
goodness.
Jakes is back in the lead, or up into the lead, with Bors for close company. Oh, and Jakes now runs deep, and Bors with an opportunity down the straight here to take the position away. Yeah, maybe not though. For now, but stay behind. Slapinski third, Yannick fourth, Sabre fifth, Fernandez sixth, Stern now up to seventh, ahead of Ray Riddle. And Drexler, Amaral, Rocha and Watman rounds out the field, and it looks like everyone has survived up until
Yeah,
at
but-
least the farm straight.
Yeah, but the question becomes, how much damage did Gabriel Stur incur as they all now try to go through Woodcote? Everybody seems to be making it through okay so far.
Well, Fernandez with a close call. Oh, there's contact there between Hackman and Michiels.
Yeah, very close there. Yeah, you really, you have two choices. You either make it through there or you hit the barrier, one or the other.
Very much so. And when Fernandez now being passed by Gabriel Stur, Stur with a great run out of Kopp's corner. Through Maggot he went, and now into Beckett's. And look at the speed he's got, looking to have over the rest. Ash
Well,
Kowalski has retired.
Oh.
Oh, and Dave Miller into the pits too. Okay. Looked like Kowalski found a very hefty piece of earth or something, as Miller is in the pits for what I assume is repairs. Possibly a front wing, maybe.
Well, it appears Gabriel Stur's car is not damaged by that contact with the wall, because he not only ran off the track, he had contact with the wall. So it appears he's doing okay. We'll see if he can maintain this forward momentum. The next car in line for him is David Sabre.
When he's looking at Brian Yannick.
Yeah.
But that I will say about these cars, they can take a little bit of a beating as long as you hit the wall shall we call it, the right way. As in, if you hit it like pancaking it, I found when I've been lapping a little bit that you sometimes get away with a slight whack compared to if you hit it
Well, look
at a
at
bit
that.
of an angle.
Look at that. He's already by David Sabre.
Wow.
So clearly he's not hampered at all by that instance. So we may see him back towards the front relatively quickly.
Definitely a possibility. Let's jump on board with the Warner Hodgson Racing and listen to that beautiful engine and look at Stir flying up towards him.
Trying to find a way by, but
well, interesting to see that Stir was very quick off the corner there, but later down the straight he lost out.
Well, Janik was making that car very wide, I have to say. Come up to Club.
Now through Abbey Curve.
Yeah.
Which I reckon is one of the trickier sets of corners here because it's very bumpy through there.
Yeah, he's got a definite straight line. Well, he's not going to be... Oh, he's looking to try to do it here, but no, that's not going to happen, no. Not going to happen.
Well, I reckon that might have been a... Let's try and put him off a little bit.
That may have been just a look-see to say, hey, here I am. The real winner of this race in 1978 was A.J. Foyt, and the car that won that race is currently running third. Jake's is running in the Mark III Wildcat at this point, so that's why the different color scheme. They didn't bring the Mark II over across the pond. They brought the Mark III.
Understandable. I reckon a lot more. Oh, here he comes, Stir up the inside before they reach the Shuttle Curve. Wow, what an exit of the corner.
Very, very, very well done. Clean overtake. But
Janik not leaving it, letting
yeah,
it go,
Janik's
though.
not happy with this. He wants that position back.
That's one of those where you nearly feel as a driver who was in front, like, he dive bombed me sort of situation, I reckon, because that looked very scary for... If you're not aware that he's actually coming up the inside, that could get very ugly indeed. And I noticed as well up in front of them, that looks to be a three-way fight right now, with Bors now having passed Yakes. So Bors up into the lead, thanking Penske even more here.
Uh-huh.
And Yakes second, Schlapinski third, and Stir very close behind as well right now. So four-way fight for the lead at the moment.
We'll have to take a close look here and see if see what happens when Gabriel Stir is able to get up with this trio. How he's able to compete with them, because these guys are running at a very impressive clip right now.
Well, impressive clip indeed, but even more impressive, I'd say, is that the fact that Stir more or less has caught up already, half a lap. Because there he is, only make that about 3, maybe 4 columns behind Schlapinski right now. And it looks like Bors is trying to check out here and open up a bit of a gap to have something to work with.
And it looks like the perils are not over for Janik yet. He's got David Sabre closing in on him.
Oh, they were having a battle before Stir got involved, so that could be an enjoyable fight for him. Meanwhile, Hackman at the moment running in 12th, so that would be enough points to secure the championship for him, but I don't think he can drop much further back in the instance that Janik picks up the win here. Oh, Yakes very deep into the Woodcote chicane, as was Bors up ahead. Schlapinski was a little bit better.
They were very, very late into there. It's on the absolute limit.
I think Stir got too deep as well. All of them really struggling to try and get the cars to do what they want.
So Juha most of the year was driving a year-old Penske for Russ Pollock Racing, and now he finds himself in the top shelf equipment, and he's wanting to make the very best use out of this.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he did it in qualifying, lining up third for the start of the race, so that's definitely a bit of payback towards the team owner. But as you say, he'd probably want to win here to properly show that he deserves the top line drive for next year.
Yeah, Gabriel Stiller still with them. They're holding station, but not closing too much. So, unless one of these three make a mistake, I don't know if Gabriel's going to be able to get up with the leading three. We'll see. We're only on lap 6, so we're about a tenth of the way through the race.
Could be that he's saving a little bit of tires, trying to get them to cool down a little bit.
Possibly.
And look at that, Yates now looking a little bit racing behind Bose.
Through Woodcote. They're all doing a really good job slithering through there.
That's definitely a duo break, I believe, for
Yeah,
this racetrack, as
basically.
Yates now looking for a possible break up the inside, but decides against it. Because that's the corner where if you're slow through there, you're pretty much slow up all the way up towards until you get to Beckett's.
Yeah,
And a
pretty
tight
much.
right-hander up here.
Mm-hmm. No question about it.
And then, of course, if you're slow out of here, then you're pretty much slow until Woodcote. So it sort of feels like two corners more or less make the whole lap, in a sense.
Yeah, exit speed really out of corners is the critical thing, because if you get that wrong, you're going to be slower down the straight, as Hackman is all the way down in 12th, and so the sister Penske just, trying to claw its way back up through the field and having a difficult time. He's right behind K.O. McKeels right now, makes the attempt on the inside, going into Stowe, and gets it done.
Oh, but it goes too deep. McKeels could get him on the exit.
I can always get those two. Which is Stowe and which is Club?
Stowe is the first one, and Club is this one.
All right, well then I'm getting it right.
Club nowadays would be the left-right combination.
Mm-hmm. True.
Or the chicane in the 90s, or like...
So Hackman up to 11th now.
And now look at this, everyone closing in too, because now Yannick not too far behind Stur either, up towards the front of the field. And he's bringing Sabre along with him, and not too far behind is Ruben Fernandez, so soon enough might be a 7-car train for the win.
Well, we'll have to see when these guys plan to make their pit stops and how tire wear becomes a problem around here. It's difficult to tell what's going to happen. It's going to come down to who can save their tires the most, who spends the least amount of time slithering and sliding, and getting the power down cleanly. But as we've already seen, that's a very difficult proposition.
Well, if that's the proposition, I believe Stur is in a very good place.
He's really probably kicking himself for lap 1.
Definitely so, but he's regained most of the ground, so he's in a good position still.
Yeah, to his credit, he's continuing on. And if anything should happen to the front 3, he could well be back in the lead. We'll see.
Indeed so, and out of interest, how much, if at all, do you think dirty air affects how you drive the track in the cars here?
It does to a degree when you're going through the corner if you're right behind somebody. It should. I would say that it would especially be a concern heading it down towards Stowe, the left-hander just before. If you're not careful, you have a bit of washout there, and you probably have a bit of washout at Abbey, I would think, but nothing too crazy.
Well, if that's the case, then I'd assume you might get a bit of washout here too at
Oh, look at this! Look at how close Jakes is getting now.
And Sabre likewise to Yannick. Let's watch the two up the front. Oh,
this could be it.
Nice cutback.
Look at how loose. Look at how loose Boss was off of.
Ooh, nearly.
Yeah, almost.
That was one of those. Another couple of inches, he would probably have gone for it proper.
Yeah, I just don't think he had the momentum at that point. But starting to wonder if Yuha's already experiencing some rear tire temperature problems here. We'll see.
Could definitely be the case.
Because the temperatures rise. It's a pretty clean exit from Abbey there, so he seems to be doing all right. All right, here comes
Hackman has retained 11th in the meantime.
Here comes everyone's favorite corner now. It really doesn't. You can gain or lose a lot of time there, assuming if you can thread it through there with the least amount of steering. These cars don't like to turn suddenly or abruptly at high speed. They don't like to do it at low speed either.
At high speeds, it's like trying to get a jumbo jet to make a 180. At slow speeds, it's I'd assume like trying to stop a bronking elephant to make a 180.
Well, the big problem at high speed, especially on a track like Texas or Michigan, is that you have all the suspension squat. a lot of the time in the turns, and so that also hampers your ability to turn or make a sudden course correction. But here it's just a case of these cars are very unwieldy on this course. They were not designed for this kind of racing.
Unfortunately, I also noticed now Simon Watman has retired in the last couple of laps.
Well, he joined very late the entry list, so he's had very little practice. The only car in the field that probably has the most adept design to this type of racing would be the Parnelli, but it's not here.
Well, I suppose the McLarens, like the works,
Those
semi-works
two, yes.
M24s, would have
Those
at
two,
least
yeah.
some kind of semblance of circuit racing in them.
That I think also is true, yes.
Based on the fact that the oval racing McLarens were based on the F1 circuit racing equivalents.
And Jake's got into the lead there.
Oh, he did. I thought he didn't make it. Wow.
No, he did. Take a look at a
Oh, he did
replay.
it. He must have done
Right.
it before the chicane then. Oh, out of the chicane even.
No, he did it along the front straightaway, out of the chicane.
I wonder if Bors might have missed a gear there.
It's a possibility. It's very easy to miss a shift from second to third. I think that's probably exactly what happened. Let me do some investigation here.
Based on where they were on the straight and the revs he was pulling just before.
Yes, there was a definite shifting issue there. That's why Jakes was able to get by.
Well, let's hope he has no further braking issues. Oh, sorry, sheer gear shifting issues.
I wouldn't be at all surprised if we see some cars drop out of the race late with engine problems, just because of the chance of over-revving and missing a shift.
Definitely a possibility. As Sabre makes the move into Woodcote chicane on Yannick, so Sabre up to 5th. Just caught it as he jumped on board with Ruben Fernandez and looking across his front wing at the battles up ahead. Well, look at all that tire smoke.
Yeah, I'm really. It's going to be interesting to see how good the tires are towards the end of this race. I'm anticipating there's probably going to be one stop for fuel.
And I'm going to quote Jeremy Clarkson in this case, in terms of what the audience watching this was probably thinking. I love the smell of rubber in the morning.
Look at this. Here comes Boss. He's got 4 extra cylinders compared to Jake's, but he's not going to be able to get it done there.
Well, he could get a good exit though, because Jakes looked a
He's
little bit
got an
squirrely on the
excellent
entry.
exit. Yeah, look at that.
Oh, but Bors misses another gear, I'm fairly sure.
Yeah, it's easy to do that. It's really easy to do that. You can lift your foot off the throttle completely. You think you've done it, and then you realize you haven't. It can be supremely frustrating, especially in a circuit like this.
Is it sort of a case of you try to do it like the hare and it goes wrong? If you do it like the slug, it goes right for gear shifting around here?
I honestly don't know. But
Sabre with a late move. Not quite able to make it done though.
I'm really impressed with everybody, how they're handling Woodcote chicane so far. We haven't seen any craziness there. We've seen a lot of brake smoke and a lot of near misses, but we haven't seen anybody hit the barrier yet, or the curb.
Indeed, and it looks like the drivers that seem to be at home here is down to about...
Jakes is back down to a third, so something happened there.
Well,
see what
let's
happened
see
here. He ran off the course. He
Oh,
ran
yeah.
off the course. Yeah.
Ran a bit deep into cops by the looks of things, right?
Yeah, and then let 2 cars by, so he's back down to third now.
Oh, and now comes Stir as well with the slipstream. Not close enough here, but maybe with a good exit here. Oh, and
Now
Sabre
he's-
close by too.
Now he's got problems with David Sabre right behind him as well, so...
I'm fairly sure it's a case of for Stir. He's very quick when he's in clean air, but problem is getting that clean air in this particular situation. And it looks like, I was going to say, it looks like down to about Hackman is the guys that seem more or less at home here. From K.O. Michiels and back to Chacon, Drexler, Rocha, Amaral and even Dave Miller, although Miller had repairs done to the car.
Yeah.
It looks like they are struggling a little bit more to try and keep a fast pace and maybe especially keep the car on the track, which in itself is a difficult proposition around here. Because as you say, they do not like to turn, and even less so when...
Well, you've got no help from the curves here. You may have a little bit of help at a club, where there's a tiny bit of banking there, but most of the rest of these curves are dead flat, and you have like no help at all from the track itself.
And if you want to have a look at a good spectacle, have a look at what Ruben Fernandez is doing, because he's four-wheel drifting the car out of the corners, power sliding it. I mean, it looks like Tiffany Dell.
I noticed that a little bit previously.
Yeah.
When I was riding on board. Let's jump. Actually, let's just follow him for a while.
Yeah, he's driving a Mark II Wildcat SGD. It's the Tom Bigelow car. And yeah, he's been very quick throughout the week. So
Yeah, look
chances
at that.
chances of him finishing well are quite high, I think.
And as I mentioned, he had a very good event last weekend too, so he's coming off a high as well.
Yep.
He put that Audi he was driving then into places I didn't think was possible for the car. And it looks like there's a lapped car for the drivers ahead. If I'm not mistaken. No, that's Sturr actually making a move on Yates, so Sturr is up into third. Let's see, good exit out of Woodcote chicane, drive up the inside into Copse, stayed tight and let Yates have the outside, so it got a little bit close by looks of things going into Maggots, maybe not, because Sturr had another good exit. Yates dropped possibly back to not have to run side by side. And then Sabre looked up the inside of Yates too, but decided against it.
I think Slapinski is having a look here at possibly taking a shot at the lead. He's quite close to Juha at this point. Backs off a little bit now.
It's definitely, by the looks of things, the top 8 battle for the win in total, since it's another 10 seconds back to Bouchard as the closest pursuer to the top 8. And all of the drivers flying here in the top 8. It's incredible to watch.
They all head into Woodcote. Everyone seems to be doing okay.
Yep, they all survive once again. Oh, and now Slapinski really having a look.
Yeah, he had a look on the inside going into Copse, but just didn't have the momentum to get by.
When I notice now Sturr actually used the curbing on the outside of Copse, is that something you dare do, or is it more a last-ditch effort to keep the car on the road?
I do not know. I tried a couple of different cars in practice here and found that it was just not my cup of tea, so I...
Slapinski almost did a Kelvin Burt, I reckon. Back in 1997, Kelvin Burt ran wide at the first turn at Alton Park, clipped the grass, and the car immediately veered right. Slapinski nearly did the same thing coming out of Shuttle Curve. I suppose the nearest that in any top line.
Oh, look at this. David Sabre alongside David Jakes and gets by.
Ooh, nice exit,
Into
nicely
fourth
done.
place. Very, very well done. Took advantage of...
Is he about to overtake Boss?
Oh, he is too.
Ooh.
Oh, but
That
Boss
was close.
late on the brakes.
Very, very late, yeah.
I suppose the nearest we'll get to that kind of situation where the car just veered sideways on anyone in near time would be Kimi Räikkönen when he was driving for Ferrari at this particular track.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 odd years ago. Oh, Sabre is off! No!
Oh, no.
Oh no, and Fernandez has blown his engine too!
Well, we thought that we might see something like that. We weren't expecting to see it this soon. But there you go. If you push these engines too hard, that's what happens. Especially the four bangers.
That's what happened for Ruben. He went to put it down a gear, but I think he went 2 gears down there. And then as he was trying to get the car back into gear again, he missed the gear and revved the car, and that's that.
Sabre is still having issues getting back to speed. It looks like he's
Yeah, that's
possibly
Hackman
going to... Yeah,
for
Hackman's going
company.
to... Hackman's going to
Looks
try
to
to
me like a
overtake him
crippled
there.
car. There is some suspension damage in Dave's car.
Maybe, yes.
Well, that's very unfortunate. He was having a great race up until that point.
Yeah, he seems to be really struggling now.
So Fredriksson up to 8th, Bouchard up to 7th, Ridol now up to 6th, 3 seconds behind the group ahead, and Yannick now looking at Yakes. Along with, I think that was Stur looking at Schlapinski, so they are not giving this up at all, these guys. As we're 18 laps in and probably about 8 to 10 laps from the pit stops.
I would say probably, yeah. Yeah, Schlapinski keeps having little looks here and there, but I think it's more of just he's playing a psychological game with Juha. But he's got Stur right behind him.
Ooh.
And Stur is definitely not, like as we said before, is not damaged by that incident that he had earlier.
Well, at least not visibly in his driving. Oh,
No.
but he's dropping back Yakes with a bit of a run, but not making use of it.
No, you can't get him there, unfortunately.
And look at that, the top 6 now, covered by roughly 5 seconds.
Hmm.
I reckon that's closer than what it was in real life. At least for that amount of drivers this late into the race. No disrespect to the drivers of yesteryear, but many of the drivers in the series was oval drivers, not road course drivers.
Well, Voigt won the race in real life, so. And he had driven road course races, obviously won Le Mans with Gurney, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So he knows how to drive road courses.
For sure. And Schlapinski have shown that he is no slouch, so he's a good participant in that Voigt car. I gotta say, I'm surprised the Stur number 22 car is going as well as it is doing, because that car is not shone this season.
Oh, look at that. Here's Jake's
Ooh.
up the inside. No, there's not going to be any room there. Also, Schlapinski has a look up the inside of our leader.
Looks like these 4 are now leaving Yannick and Ridolf in their dust.
The top 4 are just basically all just a matter of who has the best exit at any given time on a particular corner.
Quite so.
Oh, look at this.
Ooh.
Here comes Schlapinski.
And Yakes
Schlapinski
really
looking up
sideways.
the inside. And, oh, man, it really is kind of a game of chicken going in there.
I gotta say, also gotta say, Boos, while he seemed to be struggling a little bit, he is definitely very strong on the brakes.
Here comes Schlapinski again.
Oh, I think Boos might have missed
Looking
a
up the
gear.
inside. No, not going to get it done.
Wowee.
And Gabriel Stur looks like he's going to be under attack quickly from Jake's here in a second. Here comes Stur. He's looking at Gabriel. Gabriel Stur is looking at Schlapinski very, very closely here, and Jake's is also having a look here. Oh, Jake's looks like he might be able to get by Stur. There he goes. But no, Stur stays on the inside. They're going to be side by side coming through the corner. Wow.
Wow, and look at that Stur giving him all the racing room he needs. Nicely done. And still retains the position.
He retains the position heading into club. Excellent. Very, very good driving by Gabriel Stur.
And when that allows Yakes to close back up, although he is looking to be struggling with the tires at the moment.
Yeah, but as you say, pit stops are coming up, so we'll have to see. If they're going to be filling the tanks, they may as well be going for 4 tires. We'll see what happens here.
And I don't think you can do much else around this particular track because
pretty
it's
much.
more or less the same amount for both. Oh, as Yakes has a bad exit. Yannick with an opportunity. Not close enough, I don't think, though.
No, not enough. Exiting corners with these cars. Try to get the power down. You're doing your very best, and in your eagerness to do so, it's very easy to lose time. All right, looks like Stur's got him. Possibly has a run here on... No, not going to happen, but he is definitely a threat for the win here still.
Uh-huh. And I notice now August Watering was the driver who we lost during that restart. Unfortunately, computer crashed and he couldn't get back in time.
Oh. Oh, look at Stur. It's on the wrong side of the road to try to get by, but maybe he can maintain momentum exiting Abbey here
Well,
as they come.
Definitely has to run.
Not now. It is. They're coming up to Woodcote, and this is going to become increasingly more difficult.
Oh dear!
Oh my goodness! Stur really had a bad exit, and look at that. Jakes goes right by. That's all it takes. Is just a little miscue on that corner, and Jakes definitely has a position because he has the inside line into Cops.
And that all started, I think, on the very entry of the corner where he was a little bit too quick going in, ran wide on the second part, and then of course ran wide on the third part too, trying to regather it up. And this is a great duel between these guys. This is great fun to watch. And now also closing in on the pit stop cycle, and all hell can break loose in that situation too. Especially with, is it a chicane pit entry for this one?
I would gather it is. Kind of mirrors the Woodcote chicane itself.
Oh dear. That could definitely be a...
Oh, look at this. Jake's very close to Ślepinski now as they head to Abbey.
It also almost looks like it's a tire heat cycle thing going on too, with of course driver mistakes, but they are caused by possibly the tires going a little bit hotter than they would like.
Yeah, true.
Well, now Yakes all crossed up but holds on to it and keeps the power down. Possibly saved a little bit by the fact that he has a 4-cylinder.
The first car into the pits, it appears, is Jules Bouchard from 10th place.
Well, that sounds a little early. 23 laps in, that's...
Well, he's coming in. He's the first car into the pits.
46, so that's presumably the earliest he thinks he can stop and make it on a full tank of fuel then.
I guess. As we have Francisco Amaral being lapped by the leaders, and he's doing a very sportsmanlike job of getting out of the way.
Definitely nicely done. Let's all of them past before the corner. That's one... Oh, Bouchard has blown up in the pits.
Oh boy. Well, that's a problem. Good grief. That could have been just a result of overstressing the engine throughout the race, and then okay, well that'll be interesting to watch when cars actually when the front runners make their pit stops. Is there going to be an issue?
Yeah, it was as he was getting out and he just revved it a bit too high.
The thing just blew.
Yeah.
Alright, so if there's any cumulative stress that's put on the engine, it may show itself in the pit stop itself, as Jakes has another look at Ślepinski going into Cops, doesn't get it done.
And the all-out war that looks to be going on continues. When Yakes again with a look. Oh, there's someone off with a big off. That looked like a very hefty off.
Oh my
indeed.
goodness, it's Luciano Rocha in the Eagle.
Oh dear. Oh, he lost it.
He lost it under acceleration. He just simply, the wheels just spun. He was coming through. Oh my goodness! Yeah, he just.
And it seems to me that you have bosses now signaling pits.
Okay. Yeah, he just flat Rocha just flat lost it under acceleration there.
And I think that was just as he was going to go off the throttle.
Huh.
Obviously on one tires, and maybe he thought it was more straightened out than it was. And I mean, that could also be, I suppose, a stuck in throttle. As here goes Slapinski up past Jakes, so Jakes has taken second away from Slapinski while all that happened.
Huh.
And Bose continues for at least one more lap.
Yeah, all top 5 are still coming through. And there's a big gap between the top 5 and then Ray Riddall, who's carrying on in honor of the late Al Unster and that Chaparral Lola.
That's one of the saddest news we've had in recent weeks. So
David Sabre in the pits. Changing tires, adding fuel.
I wonder if he'll repair the car too.
If I'm him, I'm probably switching that off. Yeah, he's changing all 4 tires in the car and fueling it up, so.
When Hackman is retired!
What?
Oh, that looks like yeah, that's an engine failure.
Another engine failure. I think that we're going to find this is going to start cropping up more and more. We're not even midway through the race. We're almost midway through, and we've already had 3 engine failures.
Of which one was caused from revving in the pits, but possibly with previous.
I think you have to
strain,
account for previous strain.
And in terms of Fernandez, that too looked to be more driver than actual engine causing that. Slapinski now into the pits in the meantime.
Riddall also into the pits, so we're starting to see these are routine. I mean, everything's been routine up to this point, but this is about the time we would expect all of them to come in.
And that's Slapinski back out. Quick pit stop.
Mm-hmm. So that... Did he change tires? I wasn't watching closely enough.
I actually didn't catch it. I think if he, based on the time Riddall takes, I reckon that was 2 tires at most.
Yeah, I mean,
he gained a big gap on Ray.
It would make sense to change tires, because if you're filling the car full of fuel,
he has gained nearly...
Riddall comes back out again.
That's nearly 20 seconds, at least 15 seconds he's gained, so I think that's a no tire stop.
Wow.
That's a brave call.
It is a brave call, assuming that the tires will last. So the order is Boss.
Jakes, wow! Oh, both of them off as well!
Oh no, Jake's, well, there's a bunch of them coming in pits right now. Boss, Janik, and Jakes all into the pits at once. And that is going to promote...
Stir to the lead at the moment.
Stir is in the lead now, yes.
Well, that was an
real
aggressive...
estate is at a premium in the UK, but this was quite excessive.
Yeah.
Definitely so, that was very aggressive. And I suppose you could put it in the opportunistic bag too. So Bose exits. And there comes Jakes. And
Boss, Jakes.
Yannick still in the pits.
Yeah, Janik still. We're still waiting for Janik to depart.
I wonder if he picked up some damage with that contact they made and he didn't turn it off. This is a killer for his championship aspirations.
Well, there's no championship aspirations right now because Jakes has sewn it up, but...
well, second place in the championship aspirations then.
True. Fredrickson exits the pits too. We haven't heard too much from him in this race, but he's doing okay. He's up to 5th at this point. We'll see what happens once the rest of the cars cycle through. He's driving a Mark...
I think he's at least
Mark
5th.
IV.
Wow.
He's driving a Mark IV with the Drake engine, I believe. Is that correct, Alberto?
I think it is, yes. He's
Yeah,
using
which
the
is-
special Drake engine.
Special V8 Drake.
Well, both of them has pitted, and now here comes Ray Riddle.
Up the inside, this should be an easy overtake for him. Yep, there he goes.
Throws
Riddle up
some
to fifth
mistake
place.
it right.
So the
And
question
Stur
is,
now in the pits.
Stur is in the pits, and Schlapinski entering. Oh my goodness, taking a very late entry into Woodcote, but he manages to get through, and he will take.
He'll take the lead for sure.
For sure. Boss
Stur will
move-
probably be out around the same time as Boss
Yeah,
comes
Stur
around.
is out now, and Boss is just now exiting. So it's going to be very close at the end here. No, Boss is going to
I
end
think
up in
Jakes will
second
pass
place,
him too.
and Jakes will probably take third place from Gabriel Stur. We'll see.
Yep, he does. So Stur down to fourth, but
Stur's in fourth.
1 lap newer tires. And possibly for Schlapinski, no new tires. And if that's the case, then that'll be a very tricky drive towards the end of the race.
Francisco Amaral also exiting pits. Dave Miller now entering the pits. So very busy pit lane right now. And we're at lap 27 right now out of 52.
28th lap for our leader.
Yep.
And he has a 12-second lead at the moment ahead of Juha Boss. Jakes a further 3 seconds behind, and another 3 seconds behind is Gabriel Stur, so all the leading cars has thinned out, but seeing as that's the case, let's have a quick look at the trivia questions so you guys have something to ponder during the remaining half of the race. So the question you have to answer this evening is on the first start of the 1973 British GP, which team's airbox was damaged by Jody Scheckter's flying rear wing, forcing the team to borrow another airbox for the second start? Was it A, Elf Team Tyrrell? Was it B, Hesketh Racing? Or was it C, ISO Marlboro? And I gotta say, I got it right when I first saw the question.
There you go.
But it was a tricky one. And that's something for you all to ponder while we see that Stur has closed in a second on Jakes in a single lap. And it looks like
Oh, look
both
at
of
this,
them are closing in on Boss too.
Yeah, Schlapinski is closing in on his teammate, Chacon, and Bruno is running 10th right now. He is in 6th place in the points, and it'll be interesting to see if he can amass enough points to get into the top 5 by the end. We'll have to check and see what the point spread is for, if you could put that point spread up on the screen and tell me what the points awarded for 10th are.
In a moment. So for 10th he would score 45 points.
45 points.
60
The
if he
reason-
gains another position.
Yep.
So now a second divides Jakes and Stur, so new tires. Stur is very quick. And all of them currently closing in on Schlapinski too. So how far up the field would Chacon need to finish to take 5th in the championship?
I am having a look at that right now.
Okie dokie. In the meantime, the fight definitely looks to be back on again. And based on the speed Stur has, he should be able to make the move Generally speaking, a second lap quicker should be enough to be able to take a position.
Oh no, it's unfortunately I think he would have to win the race pretty much too.
Ah, I thought
So-
it was closer.
I did too, honestly. I thought it was closer, but it's 2776 to his 2485.
Then congratulations on securing 5th in the championship standing season.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I wanted to try to enter the race. I was thinking maybe I could secure.
Well, presumably securing
Yeah.
the championship in 5th anyway.
Securing 5th place. I wanted to finish in top 5, but
And there goes
If
Stur
they're-
in the meantime, easily past Yakes. Looked like Yakes let him past.
Jan Kowalski is out of the race. Simon Watman out of the race. Yeah, there's quite a few retirements here.
Oh, and Fredriksson has retired in the last little while too. Oh, very recently too, and it looks like he had an off.
Oh boy.
Oh, into Cops, a little bit too late on the brakes, locked up, and hard into the outside barrier. Among others, and as you say, Dave Miller has retired too.
So it'd be really historically cool if Lipinski could win this race, because that is the same car that won historically. AJ Foyt's car. So we'll see what happens.
Quite so, but it would also be nice to see the number 22 take the win.
Yeah.
Simply based on the fact that the car has
look
seen
at this.
little...
Very close battle going on here between Ray Rudall and David Sabre, who we would assume is running with some damage, but Sabre looks up the inside at Cops, can't get the job done.
Well, Go on.
I'm surprised we haven't seen anybody hit the anti-cut cones around the track.
I think most of the guys are running with understeer in the car, and I know Sabre. I know Sabre has been complaining a little bit about that during the season, that the car tends to understeer. But that being said, with that damage, maybe it's a bit more balanced.
Perhaps.
Oh, Ray Riddle very deep.
Oh man, there was a huge misshift there, which I believe was by Ray Rudall, and that would explain why David Sabre just sails by into Club. You could hear it.
Well, then the Publicum got an earful of it. There's a lot of the people watching the race were standing on that straight.
So Lipinski is leading Boss by 8 seconds right now.
Ooh, and all sideways coming through Chapel. That's definitely a car without new tires on. I'm almost 100% sure of that.
Oh, look at this. Gabriel Stur up the outside of Juha Boss, but Boss is taking... Oh, no, it looks like he's gonna get it done on the outside.
Surely not.
No. Oh, well, wait a minute. Hang on.
Oh, he's still got the overlap.
There. He got it done. He got it
Wow.
done. He got the club. Excellent. Wow. That's incredible.
That's a driver who trusts the car and the tires and the setup he's got on it.
Indeed.
Wow. That's impressive. I think even Juha is applauding in the car at the moment.
Yeah, and as long as this stuff is going on, that's going to help Lipinski, because if these two are battling it out, it's just going to make it harder for them to catch him in the closing laps here. So they're coming up on a lapped car, actually.
That being said, it's about 8-9 seconds now, the difference.
We're on lap 34 now, as yeah, it's one of the Watsons, actually.
McKeel's getting out of the way there.
Yeah, McKeel's teammate to Stur.
Ooh!
Oh, Gabriel Stur off the track and into the weeds. Oh man, agricultural driving now for Gabriel Stur as Boss sails way past into
And
into the
Yates,
hangar straight, and
Yates follow him.
Jakes is gonna. Yeah, Jakes follows. He goes into third place, so Gabriel's down to fourth. My goodness.
Well, that's unfortunate. Well, he still has the laps to try and do it, but
Yeah.
he just made it a lot more difficult for himself.
Yes, he did. So now Boss's job is going to be to try to erase that 7.2 second lead that Slapinski has before we get to lap 52.
Yep.
Be interesting to see if he can do it.
Quite so, and as he goes through Woodcote, I don't think I mentioned that, but the corner is named in honor of a country club a few miles away, which I believe some of the up-and-ups of Silverstone society and some of the more successful local drivers was visiting back in the day. Oh, and look at that stir, already up to Yates. I'm going past him.
That didn't take long.
Wow. I wonder if he used a little bit of extra boost there.
Perhaps, but he's going to want to be careful about that because these four-bangers don't like using excessive boosts too long.
Quite so. Still impressive. He's gained nearly 3 seconds on Slapinski on this particular lap.
And he's going to gain more time there over Jakes because Jakes ran wide onto the grass for a second. It's going to slow him down a little bit. Well, Boss is not making any kind of headway to the leader. The gap is still 7.5 seconds, so it's pretty solid.
Yeah, I think Slapinski very much is driving somewhat within himself, but as fast as he dare go within himself. Oh, when Yates all locked up nearly runs off the road, going into Beckett's. And our apologies to any good battles going on possibly further down the field, but this is where it's at the moment.
Yeah, we still have 11 cars in the race at the moment. The last car running is Francisco Amaral. And the cars are all pretty much spread out at the moment. There's nobody in direct contact at the moment.
Right, so Sabre, once he got past with all, has opened the gap there, so definitely looks like this is where the battle will be.
Yeah, two very different V8s here in competition in first and second. The first one being the one that traces its roots all the way back to the 60s. It was purchased by Foyt and maintained and built by him. Then the other one is the Cosworth-derived engine.
Mm-hmm.
V8. So two very different, different manufacturers, but both V8s.
And different ways of going about the whole proposition of creating a race engine.
Yeah, for sure. The V8 that's in the Coyote is obviously much more bulky. Has a lot more, takes up a lot more space than the V8 that's in the Penske.
Uh-huh. Which might honestly help around here because he gets a bit more weight onto the rear tires compared to the Penske.
True.
And looks like both Bors and Stur has closed in a tiny bit on Shlapinski this lap. By a tiny bit, that's a second, maybe second and a half.
Having a look here at the engines comparison between the Foyt. Yeah. The Foyt V8 should make about 50 horsepower less than the DFX at 850.
Mm-hmm.
So DFX makes about 900. So there you go. There's the difference.
Well, certainly in power output alone, but the weight could be in his preference, in his win here, but he's definitely losing time now. Bors is closing in heavily. He can see Shlapinski up ahead, as can Stur. So long are the straights here.
Yeah, it's going to be...
It's about a 7-second gap now, and it was roughly 12 a couple of laps ago. And Stur 2-3 seconds behind now. So these drivers now going all out, I reckon, to try and catch back up. So it's mainly a question now then of is Shlapinski actually holding back a little bit.
Microphone muted. Microphone activated.
And Keomi Kiels has retired in the meantime. I just noticed that now, unfortunately.
Well, so that brings us down to 10 cars now running.
Yep, and
I expected this to be a survival race personally.
for sure.
If not because of accidents and because of engines letting go.
Uh-huh. Oh, it looks like someone's engine has just let go. That was Amaral on the side of the road.
Oh boy!
Just
well,
after Abbey Curve, he was parked
there
on the
goes
right,
another
on the left-hand side driver's view.
So that means we now have 9 cars running.
Quite.
My goodness.
And the gap now at the front about 6 seconds between the top 3, with 12 odd laps to go. This is going to get very close indeed.
All right, so Shlapinski leads now. The gap has reduced dramatically. The gap is now down to 3.3 seconds between himself and Juha Boss. So,
And then a further second back to Stur,
yeah.
who looks to have picked up the pace once again.
Yeah, Juha would like to just focus his attention on trying to chase down Shlapinski for the lead, but he can't do that because he's got Stur right behind him.
That's one of those where you want to have, similar to what they did in touring cars, among other things, hand signaling, pointing forward. Let's go for him, let's go for him.
Yeah.
Let's catch him first.
Well, Stur's
Oh, he lost it, he missed a gear, Boss missed a
Oh,
gear.
Boss missed a gear, and Stur around the outside at Abbey and takes the position.
Oh,
it
maybe not.
appears. Well, he's got the inside line going into the chicane. Yeah, he's going to take the position. But, man, that was incredible. And again, it was OPP, other people's problems. Juha having an issue there.
Definitely so, but that will have been scary nonetheless. Going around outside there is one of those hold on and hope for dear life.
Yeah.
That the guy on the inside doesn't run too wide. And look at that, 3 seconds now the gap, and Bors another 1.5 to 2 seconds behind. Oh, and Ray Riddle has retired.
Now there's another one. Notice these are all V8s.
Oh! Well, that wasn't an engine failure, though.
Oh no!
Ray Riddle braking for the final chicane, locked up, couldn't get far enough to the side, and very heavy contact with the retaining pole for the netting.
Well, that's the first time we've seen someone do that in this race. So I think it's a testament to the driving skill of this field.
Definitely so, and Bors with a big loose moment coming through Abbey Curve.
Oh, I think Slipinski's tires are really starting to give him issues because the gap is now down to 1.6 seconds.
Oh, it's
between
not even
him and
that.
Stur. And now it's 0.6 of a second. Stur
Now
very
it's-
much closing up.
Yep, now it's 2 columns, and you don't need a timing watch to tell that it is close.
Yeah, and Boss is definitely still within sight of this battle. He's not giving up.
Say du det, Lucy? Okay.
So Slipinski's whole gamble of not changing tires may definitely have been the wrong choice as he lights it up, leaving the corner. My goodness. Yeah, Stur might give it a shot here. No, he's not. He's too far back. But
Well.
he's having a look, but no, he's not going to get it done. But Slipinski's going to have to absolutely be on top of everything if he wants to win this race because the tires are definitely not.
Yep, the tires are definitely working against him, but he holds on for now. Oh, but he's really wide. I think this is Stur's opportunity.
Is Stur going to do another one of these?
Ooh, look at that, Slapinski all crossed up through there.
Man.
Well, I gotta say, if Slapinski wins this race, it'll be the drive of his season for sure. Oh, he's way deep. He's way deep. Oh,
man,
deep again.
I think Stur's going to take the lead now. So Stur definitely, well,
he has the opportunity.
8
Both
cylinders versus 4 here. Double your pleasure, double your fun. But no, Slipinski loses the lead finally to Stur. And I honestly don't think he's going to be able to counterattack.
Well, he's definitely
the way they are.
Well, he's definitely going to give it a go, I reckon.
Yeah, he will. But he made his decision, and it didn't really pan out. The tires just simply were not.
And he's too deep
now. And now it looks like Boss might be able to capture second place if he places the car right.
Well,
as they come now onto the hanger straight.
I think that was a case of from Slapinski. He really tried to get a run through Beckett's to have a chance with a bit of boost to go past Stur down this hanger straight here, but into Stur we go, and Stur now with a 2.5 advantage.
Yep.
And I think unless he makes another mistake, he'll be very difficult to take away from that.
Look at this, Boss. It goes by. I think he missed a shift there, Slipinski, and Boss goes by into a second place. So Slipinski drops to third.
Well, this will be the question here. I think it's about a 2-second gap now between Stur and Bors. Will Bors be able to keep up?
Oh, Slipinski is airborne. Coming out of
dear.
Oh my goodness! It almost gets hit by David Jakes. Jakes came within inches of hitting him. Oh my goodness!
Let's actually jump on board with Jakes here and see what he saw. You could see the slight battle up ahead. And let's see, Slapinski sideways going in, goes too tight. Oh, all crossed up, and Jakes deciding early to go inside, and then Slapinski span towards the inside, and Jakes just about manages to avoid the car.
Wow. So very lucky on the part of Jakes to get through, but that brings Slipinski down to fourth.
Well, all honor to him for rolling the dice and giving it a red-hot go.
Oh, look at him, just 45-degree angle there through the corner. Those tires are absolutely done.
That's a case of him saying, there's not going to be an inch of rubber left on these tires.
Yes.
When I'm done. Which, to be fair, there probably isn't even a quarter of an inch still left on those tires. So,
well, the way IndyCar tires are typically designed, they don't have interliners, so they're probably definitely shot right now, no question. I think he's just trying to pedal his way home at this point. He's got a good gap between himself and David Sabre at this point. It's about 13 seconds. So if he can keep the car rolling and not do anything too crazy, I think he'll be able to finish fourth. But all the credit in the world to Gabriel Stur for not getting flustered with that early incident on lap 1 and coming back and to take the lead late in the game definitely shows. I mean, we haven't seen him around here at ISO very much in the last few months or a year, frankly, but he certainly hasn't been letting his skills go to seed. That's for sure.
Definitely so, and it's one of those interesting bits where it sounds like Boss is using first through the Woodcote chicane, while I'm fairly sure Stir is using second gear. Using
Yeah, it's a matter of preference.
Using the torque of the 4-cylinder engine.
Yeah. All right, so here comes Boss.
Oh, and I think he missed another gear.
Yeah, it as you get tired out mentally, you start making that mistake more often.
Definitely, for sure. It's also a case of where you start to slightly miss the line you want. It's not by much, it's like maybe half a tire or your braking zone either early or late by a few yards, but when you get tired you really start to notice that they are making mistakes.
Yeah. Margin for error becomes less and less.
Mm-hmm. And that coupled with tires starting to get old too here, yet again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody's pretty much spread out at this point. You want to do the trivia answer?
Yeah, sure, we can do that. So, a trivia question for you all were, on the first start of the 1973 British GP, which team's airbox was damaged by Jody Scheckter's flying rear wing? Oh, your boss is blowing
no way!
engine!
Oh, shoot! Boss has spun off, and the engine lets go at the same time. I'm not sure whether it was chicken or the egg. Let's see the replay. Watching the replay here.
That looked like a blown engine before he got to the turn.
Yeah, he blew
right?
the engine. The blown engine induced the spin. Oh goodness! So there goes Boss out of the race, unfortunately.
And that means Lapinski back up to third. Well, that's unfortunate.
Yes.
Boss was putting on a good race, but
And
I
this
suppose
thing looks good for Bruno Chacon in terms of the championship, no?
Yeah. No, we looked at the difference in points, and he would have to win basically to take fifth.
Ah, okay.
In the points. But it's yet another good drive by him, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's up to 6th in half a lap here, so very good drive. Yannick likewise, despite the mishap during the pits, 5th here, but unfortunately won't be enough to get 2nd in the championship overall. Sabre, despite the spin earlier in the race, 4th right now, and I think he'll be quite happy with that. And Yake's 15 seconds now behind Stir, so let's return back to the trivia question for a moment. And the answer. So, on the first start of the 1973 British GP, which team's airbox was damaged by Jody Scheckter's flying rear wing, forcing the team to borrow another airbox for the second start? Was it A, Elf Team Tyrrell? Was it B, Hesketh Racing? Or was it C, ISO Marlborough? Alberto, do you have any idea?
Oh, I don't know. I would just say D because they seem to be more the underfunded team, so they had to borrow it somewhere.
Okay. What about? I think we were joined in the booth by
Juha.
Juha indeed.
Yes. I'll go for ISO Marlborough.
Condolences, Juha, but thank you for the answer. And the correct answer is... Ding ding ding! Hesketh Racing. I believe in the hands...
And I read the biography from James Hunt.
Uh-huh.
Must have missed that one, or it wasn't there.
If you watch the broadcast, they point it out. They say it seems that they've borrowed an airbox from Mike Beutler.
Yeah. And that's the Swedes for you. I'm fairly sure Beutler was Swedish anyway.
No, he was English. But what happened if you watch the replay of the start? After Schechter's spin, his rear wing comes off, and it nearly it clips the airbox of Hunt's car.
Uh-huh.
A few about a foot lower, and it would have decapitated him.
Yeah.
But,
one of those holy shit moments in history.
Yeah.
Well, condolences, Juha. That was a good drive.
Yeah, it was.
I take it you really enjoyed yourself out there.
I did, and I had plenty of fuel left, and I don't know what happened. I got to the braking zone, and the engine just kept going full revs. No idea why.
Ah.
Well, you're not alone in the engine failure department. We've had many engine failures in this race, and I kind of figured we would.
Yeah, well, it looks like I'm still finishing 8th despite not running.
True. Yes.
Yeah, very decent finish. Looked like you and Gabriel Sturr, among others, had a really good dice first half of the race.
It was really good. I was saving fuel. I was just missing fuel to make it one more lap. I thought I'll pit, thinking everybody would. And I saw Gabriel come through. Thought, no, that's not good. So I was constantly playing with the boost and the revs, and I was where I wanted to be, but I think he had more left in it. Unfortunate. But no. It was fun while it lasted, and at least I got the lead on the road course, which doesn't happen too often.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And,
Well,
out of interest, how do you find the roll of the dice for Schlapinski to run the race with no tire stop?
Well, I suspected that's what he did, because his pit was so quick, but he pitted a lap early, so he's probably saving a lot of fuel now. So that, I don't know why he does it, because this race is, I'm not saying over, but he wasn't going to win it.
He gave it a red hot go, though.
It was an interesting try, but
Yeah.
but in the end, he just didn't have the rubber to defend himself against Sturr and Jakes.
And
I don't think he had the
yourself.
fuel either.
Possibly.
We'll see.
Well, now that we've got you here anyway, you next year, thoughts?
Less fuel saving, hopefully. Well, be lots of downforce in one mode and absolutely no downforce in the other.
Yeah, the one with no downforce would be the DRM series.
Well, the F1 series mostly.
Oh, the F1 series. Yeah, that's right. The F1 series would have zero
Well,
downforce.
Formula 158 doesn't exactly outstand for its downforce either.
No.
It's all mechanical grip there. Yeah.
And not very much of it. Well, I'm
Sounds
looking
like a
forward
series
to
I
it.
need
I
to
hope
drive.
many. It does. You should. I hope many people will sign up for it. Cars are fun to drive. It's just a bit slower. Still challenging.
Will help me.
Oh, you should
that
definitely
case.
try it.
Yeah, I'll try it.
Jonathan's going to pick the weirdest car in the group.
Most likely, yeah. A 10-year-old car or something.
There is a mid-engine Cooper in there.
Oh, I don't
That's
like
4 of
mid-engine,
them, actually.
though.
There's 4 of them, yeah. That might be an interesting choice.
I was hoping for a front-engine car myself.
Well,
But
you can go for a Maserati, which even by 1958 was an Acerclinth.
I wonder what a van wall is like to drive.
Difficult.
loose, most likely.
Man,
Very loose.
what about the Cooper?
Well, everybody's gonna find out quite soon.
Yeah,
because
that's
right
true.
after the race, we will be launching this.
Sure,
Indeed.
we're gonna launch the.
Well, they all
Whatever.
drive in different ways. That's nice thing. There's a difference between the front engine, the van wall. Despite having the engine in the same place as most other cars, it's not easy to drive.
Indeed, but let's get back to the action on track a little bit, because Gabriel Sturr has now entered the final lap of the race.
Oh, yep, he
And
has.
Despite the early kerfuffle for himself and a somewhat slow pit stop, or pit entry might be more the case, he's put on more or less from looks of things, near enough faultless drive in that Watson, and going to bring it a win that I don't think it ever got in real life.
Well, he got 2 offs in this race, actually, which it makes it all the more remarkable. I think the Kent Oil people will be very happy. I don't know if they sell Kent Oil in England, but they definitely
Based on the name, they do.
Yeah.
I think it's the area of Britain where Jason Plato is from, among other things.
Yeah. Well, another great performance too by David Jakes.
For sure.
And kudos to Schlapinski for giving us a good show throughout.
Definitely.
Yeah, Janik with a good finish as well. As here comes Stur through the Woodcote chicane, which saw very little in the way of histrionics today.
Which is nice. Which is nice to see that it remained relatively clean. So big congratulations to Gabriel Stur, who wins the race in a
very good,
awesome fashion. Yates coming through Woodcote now, finishing second. It looks like he is quite happy with that.
And running out of fuel, looks like it as well.
Oh,
maybe that was the looseness then. And here comes Lapinski on what is probably just what was tires, and it's now scrap heap material. Finishing third. Brian Yannick, mostly thanks to your retirement, will finish fourth and close up the championship standings, but not by enough for his own sake to finish second, but he will take third overall in the championship, and that means Hackman finishes second overall in the championship, so congratulations to both of them for that.
Yeah, very good. Here comes David Sabre, who survived his own calamities during the race, and looks like he's going to finish fifth, although he's running or has he already crossed the line? No, not yet.
Not yet.
Oh dear, and Drexler with a last lap moment too. No rear wing on his car now.
Oh,
Chacon coming cross line will finish sixth here. And now for Sabre. Ooh.
Sabre had a very late entry there, and
that's one of those for the. Oh no, I think it's out of fuel.
No, he's just finding a gear.
Finding a gear and then giving the audience a bit of something to watch. So Drexler, I think he's actually finished, but now running without a rear wing in your old car you are. So
well, at least the car finished.
Yeah.
Oh, barely, yeah.
Yeah, Drexler pulling to the side now.
Oh, and look at that.
Classified as seventh.
Stur doing a bit of a donut and then promptly blowing the engine. Like you would.
Well, he still had enough fuel left to make another lap, so well done to him.
For sure, for sure.
I don't know. I mean, Stur's coming towards the chicane now. I don't know that he's actually physically crossed the line.
He has.
He
finished
has.
last lap.
So he's just bringing the vehicle in.
Yeah. As does Yates. Coming in now to park the car. And there is Slapinski too, so all of them had fuel enough to make another lap. Wow. And Chacon looks to have enough fuel to make another lap, so impressive to watch.
All right, excellent. Well, I'm going to have to make a quick exit, gentlemen, but thanks for letting me sit in for the color on this. We had a great 2021, and looking forward to 2022 for sure. Lots of exciting offerings for ISO, no question.
Yep. Hope to see you all on track. And I'm also having to quit now. We need to do some housekeeping here for the championships and get everything started. So it was really fun to broadcast with you, Jonatan, and we should be doing the same next year, as I will be sharing a car probably.
As broadcasting with both of you has been a great heap of fun. Thank you very much for joining me for
absolutely
many of the races here.
Well, thank you all three for broadcasting it. You're doing an excellent job.
As always. All right. Talk to you guys later.
Your channel. User disconnected from your channel.
So that's both Alberto and Jason heading off. Looks like Brian is not up for a chat. Now with Miller and Jakes, but look at things. So Well, any final thoughts from you? How about the season and the year, I suppose, of ISO?
Well, if you want me to mention the USAC series specifically, from a personal point of view, could have done better. Car was nice, just didn't last long enough usually.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, we had a good USAC season, good attendance. F1 86 was really nice to have a full field in every race.
For sure.
I'm really happy to see that. And well, hopefully we'll have the same next year.
Definitely hope so. I mean, F158 ought to be a very much a driver's series with cars that obviously is not up to snuff compared to even these, what would be now 40, about 40, 45-year-old cars. And I mean, they are extremely modern compared to the 58 cars. And
Oh yeah, yes. This is 58 feels like driving in slow motion.
Mm-hmm. And Kart 87 will be a great season to commentate and broadcast, I am 100% sure. Similar tracks, I'd assume, to 88, and 88 was a fantastic year, so 87 will be even more fantastic, I believe.
I hope so. I'm expecting a lot from it and I hope to be part of it. I'm really looking forward to that. It'll be a big contrast from 58, but it'll be fine.
For sure. And of course, we have the Tin Top Championship of the Year, the Deutsche Rennsportmeisterschaft, the DRM, fielding probably one of the more versatile, what I would suggest is more or less GT cars in touring car racing. Fielding cars such as the Toyota Celica 935s, 320 BMWs, both turbo and normally aspirated, and of course the Ford Escort and Ford Caprice.
Indeed.
And the odd 2002 Turbo. Now that's a car I would like to drive. Especially with the dual-linked rear drive shaft and suspension.
I think the car will be slightly outdated when we get to 1978.
Of course it will, but it'll be fun to drive.
Definitely.
I believe. Because just as a short footnote, in folk racing there was a 2002 BMW Turbo on loose and dry surface tarmac, and let's just say he was all over the place because of the rear suspension setup.
Well, I'm sure they'll have done something about it before.
I hope not.
Before converting it to DRM spec.
Well, it's a possibility, but I certainly hope they didn't, because then no matter how slow one end up driving, one will have fun. But yeah, with that, I suppose we'll finish off the broadcasting year here at ISO.
Yes, for those who still wish to try something, we are now launching an F1 58 server, which should be online in a few minutes.
And I think that's with the oldest Imola layout.
Yes, Imola 1972.
So none of the chicanes, just Imola on as a what would be like a 6-7 turn track, and all of it fun.
A lot of fun.
So yeah, to all our drivers who partook both in this championship and year, thank you very much for always putting on a good show for our broadcasts, and to all of you tuning in for broadcast all across the year, thank you very much for doing so. I hope we could make your Sunday evenings enjoyable and fun in many kind of ways. And I hope we'll see you all for next year's championships, which are promising to be very, very good. Congratulations to our USAC champions, mainly being Yakes for taking the crown, Hackman for finishing second, and Yannick for despite driving one-offs for many races of the year, finishing third overall in the championship. A fantastic effort to make that happen. And yeah, for all of you celebrating Christmas or other festivities, I hope you have a great time celebrating them. And at least by the Western standard, I hope you'll also have a great new year. And we'll see you all, I believe, on the
Somewhere in January, Jonathan. You'll get there.
in January. I thought it was a late February for the start.
No.
Oh dear. Well then, we'll see you, I'd assume, then on the 5th or 6th. No, that's too late. 5th or 6th of February.
No, the
12th, 13th.
the 9th of January for the first Formula One race.
Oh, it is
Jonathan.
January. Come on, man. So we'll see you a week after New Year's. But until then, take care of yourselves, everyone. I hope you all have a great time over the holidays. And thank you very much to everyone for tuning in once again. Good night, everyone, and have a great time.